In the season of change, you got to learn how to trust God with your future. Amen. That's the first thing we got to do, is learn how to trust God with our future. I don't know what the future holds, but this is one thing I do know. I know who holds the future. And as long as God holds the future in his hand, I believe that everything is going to be all right. When you think about your future, who did you trust in your past? Who are you trusting right now? If I can trust him in my past, if I can trust him in my right now moment, then I got to trust him in my future. And I just believe as I stand here today, and I'm getting happy now, I just believe that my future is going to be better than my present. Amen. Have I got anybody you just want to give God a praise because you believe that your future is going to be better than your present? I don't have many here in church today, but I wonder, can you give God the loudest praise that you can give God because you believe that your future is going to be better? If you are in the, oh my God, if you are feeling the pressures of life, if it won't last always. This pressure we are going through, it won't last always. I dare you to start saying now, it won't last always. Every time you get to a pressure point in life, just say it won't last always, that God has something better for me. I wonder, have I got you who just gave God a hand? Can you say with me one more time, it won't last always? When you get to that pressure point in your life, it won't last always, because God is still taking what the devil meant for your bad, and God is still turning it around for your good. I cannot allow my present season to define my future. We can rest assured that God has a plan for our lives. When you think about it, Debbie, when you think about it, when things were in the yesterdays, we didn't mind getting up saying, God got a plan for my life. We didn't remind Pete and Jeremiah that God got a plan for my life. Oh, we had the church language down. And as soon as he sent a pandemic, a whole lot of us lost our vision. If God had a plan for your life in your past, don't you think a pandemic can't change God's plan for your life in the future? And I believe that we ought to start thanking God every day from where the Lord has brought us from and what God has taken us to. And because sometimes God got to take you through some storms in order to get you to your future. We got to assure that God still has a plan for our lives. And I'm going to my seat. So in the season of change, you got to trust God with your future. In a season of change, number 2, we got to learn to walk by faith and not by sight. Because if I could only walk by what I could see, Brenda, I would be depressed every day of my life. We got to learn how to walk by faith and not by sight. Because when I look at sight, it looks like everything that is getting worse instead of getting better. When I look at the world through sight, I was out here somebody say amen. It looked like there is nothing that's going to change. But when I look at through the eyes of faith, I can see that even in the midst of my struggles, that God is still doing something in our lives. We got to learn how to walk by faith and not by sight. We got to learn how to resist the urge to define life in good or bad moments. You cannot define life in good and bad moments, because remember this, sometimes what you thought was the baddest thing that could happen in your life, it turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. Have I got anybody here that you were going through some bad experiences in your life? You thought you were going to lose your mind, but when you got on the other side of that bad experience, when you look back on that bad experience, you can see that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me in my life. So that door that God closed, you thought it was the worst thing, but when you look back over your life, it was the best thing that ever happened to your life. When God closed that door for you, you thought that last relationship you lost, you thought it was the worst thing in your life, but you can look back over your life and see it was the best thing that ever happened to you. You can see that last person that walked out of your life, you thought it was the worst thing, but when you look back over your life, you can say it was the best thing that ever happened to you. Have I got anybody here when you walk by faith and not by sight?